What is up, Mackle James Shadackle Nation? This is another tier list, this time on Malcolm in Middle. I like Malcolm in the Middle a lot. I think it has some pretty weak points in the show, but it overall stays pretty good. Seasons 1 through 7. Um, they kind of fuck up a character named Francis quite a bit. And I think the final episode's kind of bad. I think it means well. I think there's good moments in it. But I think as a whole, it's a really lame ending for the series. Aside from that, Malcolm Middle's a good show. It's funny. I'm probably going to do worse with the names in this one than usual. Uh, but we'll just go along with it. This is Stevie's dad and also Hal's best friend right off the bat, doing bad with the names. And he's very enjoyable. He's very likable. He has a lot of good moments. For some reason in the final episode, he's just really passive aggressive and unpleasant. I feel like the as the show went on, they kind of did make him more petty, which was weird because he was so likable before that. But it's not like the word. I don't know why he's bitching in the final episode. It's the final episode. We should be enjoying his presence, but he's just bitching that Malcolm got something that Stevie didn't. I think that this is just a character that lived with Francis in season 3, maybe. Or was he someone else? I don't even recognize him. I think he might have lived with Francis in season 3 when he goes to Alaska. Or is it Antarctica? It's Alaska. He's gonna go in the D tier because I don't remember anything especially bad or good about him. One of Hal's friends. I'll put the entire friend group in C because this guy, he's the funny one. He's the one that I really like. The rest of them, as a group, they're good characters, but as individuals, you don't actually see them do their own individual things that much. I think there's an episode where like one of them's a dentist and him and Hal get into a conflict with one another. Aside from that, they more so work as a group of characters rather than individuals. That's kind of the point. It's just Hal's group of friends. But again, Stevie's dad, who I feel bad for not remembering the name of, he's a good character. He stands out from the group, and he's in the show before the friend group's introduced and all that. We've got the teacher from season 1. She's okay. She's okay. There's some funny moments of her, but she's kind of taken out of the show abruptly with no explanation. She gets pregnant. That's a reason for her to be out of the show for like a couple episodes. It's not a reason for her to disappear forever. And they don't even like treat it like, oh, this is her final episode because she's gonna go take care of her kid and not be a teacher anymore. No, she's just pregnant in one episode, and then she's not on the show anymore. That's it. There's no indication that this is her last episode. And Malcolm in the Middle fucking loves to do that, by the way. It fucking loves to just pretend certain characters don't exist anymore. It does it all the fucking time. This is a kid in Dewey's class. Dewey, near the end of the show, like in the season 6 and 7, I think, goes into like a special needs class because he faked an IQ test because he didn't want to be put into Malcolm's class. Mainly because Malcolm influenced him not to go in that class. And I don't really enjoy that arc. I didn't find it all that funny. I imagine some people might even find it kind of in bad taste nowadays, but maybe not. I don't know. It didn't offend me or anything. I just did not like those characters very much. I did not find them very funny. I don't find Dewey that great, honestly. He's not horrible. I'm gonna put this kid in the F tier. I didn't like that. I didn't like those episodes. I was never into them. Craig, I hate Craig 90% of the fucking time, but occasionally there's a funny moment with him. Occasionally there's a good episode. He's a character that's meant to be annoying, and I always love to talk about in these videos the line between annoying to a character and annoying to the audience. And I think Craig goes over that line where he's annoying to me so frequently, but I can recall like a handful of scenes or episodes where he's making me laugh. It's a little disappointing to me that Francis becomes like like a character who barely appears in the show in the later seasons, but Craig is just in so much more of it. And I really don't enjoy the character that much, but I can't call him an F tier character. He's not horrible. This is the girl, another character who just disappears. I forget her name. It's a character that Malcolm has a crush on, and she is very weird and eccentric, but she's also a genius like Malcolm. She's in that genius kid class. She is in the high school season where they first go to high school. I think it's season 4. And then after that, her along with a lot of Malcolm's friends are just completely gone. She's a good character. I like her. She there's a really good episode where she's like inviting a bunch of people to a party, and Malcolm's trying to break the news to her that that's not gonna go over well. That's a really good episode. You get a lot of good episodes just seeing like the difference between her attitude and personality versus Malcolm's, and how one goes a lot better than the other. And she's just a fun character. It's a very cute character, just very weird and eccentric, but not a complete dickhead like Malcolm. I like her. We have this guy, one of Malcolm's friends. The friend group is pretty funny. I don't think, like, Stevie's the only one that I would say I really like a ton. But they're fine. You know, I liked Malcolm's group of friends. I don't know why. After season 4, they're completely written out. Again, no explanation. Never mentioned again. I think it was a budget thing. I think that they just didn't want to pay all these actors. I think that that would be my guess, because I don't know why else you would just randomly write a bunch of characters out. But yeah, he was fine. Dewey, I'm tempted to put him up one. Here's the thing. When Dewey's really little, I think it's funny because there's like a kind of a dynamic there. Francis being the oldest brother who's off in military school. Malcolm and Maurice kind of being the two middle kids. Then you had the little brat kid. And I think Dewey on his own isn't that great, but like kind of again pairing the characters up, he works pretty well, because you have these different age gaps, you have these different generations. And as the show went on, they tried to add stuff to his character. Once they no longer had that thing going for him, he couldn't be like the little kid of the group anymore, so they made him also a genius, but a different kind of genius. I have to say I liked him less as the show went on. I think some people like him more as the show went on. I thought that there were some really funny moments when he was younger. I remember like specifically there's this shot of like someone, I'm not going to be able to describe it properly, so I'm not going to attempt to. I don't know. There's good moments with Dewey. There's a good episode where he wants like a toy that's being advertised on television, and he like keeps asking his parents for it, and you see in his head how he sees it all as going down, where he's like being very respectful, saying like giving all the reasons that he wants it and saying what he'll do to get it, and then you cut to reality where he's just throwing a temper tantrum. Like I get why people don't like a character like that, but I thought it was funny personally. But as a whole, he's not the strongest. I think I'll keep him in C. This, I think she is his mom. I'm putting it below his mom. And she's not especially hilarious, but she doesn't piss me off either. It's fine. Why is this kid on the list? I went with this list because it had important characters that some of the others I saw didn't have. But this is a kid that Dewey is friends with for one episode, and he doesn't say anything. Why is he on the fucking list? D tier, it's inoffensive. There's no reason to put him in F. One of Malcolm's friends, I'm fine with the friends. This is another character who just disappears forever. It's one of Francis's buddies in military school. And then in season 3, he actually goes to Alaska with Francis. You might get the idea, oh, he's going to continue being part of Francis's story arc. He's a character that isn't leaving. But no, he does. After season 3, he's gone and never mentioned again. Maybe he's mentioned by name, but he never appears again. I don't know. It was weird. I liked him. He was a funny character. Another military school character is... Where is... There's another character that Francis goes to military school with in season 1. And he gets a lot of focus in season 1, but this isn't him. I don't remember. Again, I'm fucking screwing up with names so badly. I don't know why he's there, but the character from season 1 isn't there. Why is this kid here, but the guy from season 1 isn't there? Who made this? He's fine, inoffensive, nothing wrong with him, but nothing that memorable about him either. Francis's friend from season 1 would have been in C or B. He was good. He was like a more straightforward character that worked off of Francis pretty well, I think. And then this guy kind of took over as Francis's best friend before he just completely fucked off and we got Piyama. We'll get to Piyama. Francis A tier would have been S tier if they didn't fuck his character up in the last 2 seasons. Season 6 isn't that bad. It's just he doesn't appear that often, and I hate the way that they write him out of being on the ranch. And then in season 7, he's just annoying. He's just a complete fuck up. It was just like, wouldn't it be funny if we undid everything in those first 5 seasons? If just like none of it mattered and Francis was a bigger piece of shit than ever? I hate that. I hate that so much. I've wanted to make a video on it for a long time. I have a full script. It'd be for my TV dinner show on Movie Mackle, and I would like to make it. It's a time thing. There's other things I want to work on. TV dinners isn't necessarily one of my main priorities right now, but I think it's a good video. I think it would be a very good video. And I'd be able to talk about a lot of the positives of Francis too. It wouldn't just be a bashing. It wouldn't just be shit talking. There'd be a lot of positives to the video because there's a lot of good things to say about Malcolm in the Middle. We definitely got a more variety on this list than we did with something like BoJack, where I just like every character. Or if I don't like them, I don't hate them. Although I guess I only have one character in F tier right now. Gretchen, A. Gretchen's great. Otto's great. I fucking hate how they're written out. In season 6, they are written out off screen, and they do it in such a cynical way. And some people some people say, oh, it's a budget issue, or oh, it's because the guy who played Otto got cancer. And if it's because the guy who played Otto got cancer and he couldn't do the show anymore, understandable. But I feel like that makes the reason, like the way they wrote him off, even less tasteful. Because it's just so mean-spirited. I hate it. How, obviously, how is the fucking best? How is there's another S tier. I think there's only one more S tier character, and we'll get to that character. But how Bryan Cranston, he's the one who made the show what it is. I think there's another character and actor who helped him, and we'll get to that character. But fucking amazing. How is so fucking likable, but so insane at the same time. You can there's episodes where it's revealed that the town actually doesn't hate, because in this show, the neighborhood they live in, they are a hated family. They are frequently, there's just details and shots where characters will be glaring at them. They are not liked by their community. But you find out in multiple episodes, they're okay with Hal, but Hal is the only one they're okay with. Because he is likable. He has a lot more charm than other characters. Yeah, I'm sorry. If I don't really like the Dewey. That's another thing. I don't really like that story. I don't think it's very funny. This guy's a fucking asshole. He's a huge fucking asshole, but there are some funny moments with him. Mainly just, of him getting what he deserves. There's also moments where you want to punch him, honestly. He's another character like Craig, where I feel like goes to the line where he's annoying to me too, but he has moments. Great character. I'm drawing a blank on her name right now because the kids always call her grandma. She's the grandma, and she's fucking evil, and she's a fucking lunatic. But she is hilarious, and she stays hilarious throughout the entire show. Even in the final episode, she's great. The actor who played her recently passed away. Rest in peace. I think it was a year or two ago. It's not too recent, but still, very talented person, very great character. Jamie, I know it's a little cynical, but Jamie literally adds nothing to the show. The only thing Jamie ever added was the arc to him being born. This arc where Lois is pregnant and how it concludes with her and Francis kind of making peace with each other. That's really lovely. I like all of the episodes leading up to the birth of the kid, and I like the first episode the kid is in. All of that is great, but then in season 5, where they now have to start thinking of ways to put the baby into the show, it just doesn't work. It just does not work in a live action show when you try to make the baby a fucking focus. If you have a baby that it's just kind of there in the background, then whatever, but when you try to make it work, there's always use of green screen or a fake baby, so it's look at all this crazy stuff the baby's doing. but you know obviously they're not going to do that to a real kid, and I'm not saying that they should, but you know they're not going to do that to a real kid, so it's just like, oh yeah, it's a plastic baby in the scene. Oh yeah, they're doing a green screen here. Look at all the crazy things this baby's doing. It works well in animation. It works well with characters like Maggie in The Simpsons, but yeah, Jamie is just such a boring character. Nothing was added from Jamie. This is a girl who comes in later. She's okay. I think I'm gonna put her down one. A lot of people like this character. It's just kind of a character who's it's weird with her. She's like a babysitter for Malcolm and Reese in one episode, despite pretty much being the same age. But she's also just kind of Malcolm's rival slash potential love interest at times. And she's kind of a smart ass, but she's like, Malcolm's supposed to be a genius and she's constantly outsmarting him. I'll put her up one more. There's something there. She's not my favorite, but she's not bad. Another one of Malcolm's friends, but definitely one that gets less focus. I'll put him in Deer. Is this the bully that Malcolm punches? That's, again, a single, unless I'm just getting the wrong character here, that's a one-off character who's not even that big of a focus of the episode. He's more so the setup for the actual episode. Inoffensive, not going to put him in F. I don't know why he's on this list. Kitty's funny. Kitty makes me laugh. She is Abe. That's his name. I can't believe it. Her is what took me to remember fucking Abe's name. This guy. It's his ex-wife and his wife, then his ex-wife, and then his wife again. And I do kind of dislike the episode where she comes back because Lois isn't like as forgiving as everyone else. And then Abe turns on Lois despite the fact that Lois had been there for him during the entire difficult process of her abandoning the family. She was there for him and Stevie. And then she says, no, I think what you did was horrible and I think you should go away before you cause more harm, when Kitty comes back and tries to be part of the family again. And then Abe and Stevie act like she's a horrible person, and Stevie actually starts being nasty to Malcolm as a result as well. It's just like, that is so fucked up. That is so mean-spirited. She didn't tell you that you can't forgive her. It's just when Kitty came to her saying, like, oh, she wants to connect back to the family, Lois was honest and said, no, I think you're going to hurt you. I think you're going to hurt them again if you do that. I dislike that episode, but as a whole, I think Kitty was a pretty funny character in the earlier seasons, just with how, like, different she was from Lois. But, like, still a character that is obnoxious to her kid, like Lois is obnoxious to, like, Malcolm, Reese, and Dewey. But just for completely different reasons. And the episode where her family and Lois's family go to dinner, that's a really good one. So there's some really solid episodes of her. I like the one where Stevie and Malcolm go to a sleepover too. Kitty can be good for laughs. I just don't really, I don't even really mind where they take the character. If you want to do an episode about forgiveness, I mean, by all means do it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you can't forgive her, but it's just, if you want to, go ahead. I just don't like how Lois is treated in that episode, and like it's I don't think it's justified, and I don't think that the episode acknowledges that it's not justified. It feels like Abe and Stevie are completely in their right to tell Lois to fuck off, and I thought that was mean. I thought that was mean-spirited. I didn't like it. Oh, character that looked after Francis in season 3, not really. It was Francis's boss. She's fine. She's no Spangler, Gretchen Otto, but she worked for that season. Another one of Malcolm's friends. I liked him. He got some chuckles. Lois is the other S tier character. Maybe that was obvious. The two parents are great. Like, the kids are great too. And again, Francis would have been S tier if it weren't for the later seasons. But holy shit, like Lois is hilarious. Lois might be funnier than Hal. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on those two. A lot of people really don't like Lois. I know there's that Family Guy clip where Hal just like beats Lois's face into a refrigerator, and that's like apparently a way of venting frustration of that character. People do find Lois annoying a lot of the time watching the show. For me, she's an absolute necessity. She is probably the most important character on the show, even more so than Malcolm, just because it's just that psycho energy to her that is so much fun to watch, but also so warranted with how genuinely horrible this family is, how genuinely chaotic they are. I feel like after The Simpsons, there's a lot of shows that tried to do the whole dysfunctional family. And Malcolm in the Middle isn't the only one that did it right after The Simpsons, but I think it's like one of the ones that did it the best. I think Arrested Development kind of took a different approach because that show I feel is more built around a continuing storyline with jokes that run on for episodes, where Malcolm Middle is like your standard sitcom. I feel like Malcolm Middle did a really good job. I've seen so many shows where the characters say, "Oh, it's my crazy family, it's my wacky little world," and it's just it doesn't. And then they're like not that bad. They're a little quirky, and that's it. The dad's embarrassing, but in this show, fucking Lois and Hal are fucking lunatics. And they get themselves into so much trouble, and the things that they do and the things that their kids do are genuinely horrible. But then Lois, if you take her out of the show, everything falls apart. And that's like a storyline that The Simpsons has done with Marge leaving and then Homer and the others not knowing what to do. But in this show, it works so much because it's not just saying like, oh, things are not going so well without mom around. No, it's like she is literally the voice of these characters. She's the one who puts things in line, and without her, everything legitimately falls apart because there is no fucking order whatsoever without her. And there's a lot of episodes that acknowledge that, and I actually enjoy them. That can be a storyline that's a little tired in a lot of sitcoms, but I really like it in Malcolm in the Middle. Malcolm, I like Malcolm. In the older episodes, Malcolm's actually a really good character, in my opinion. As the show goes on, I think he becomes less good. I think he becomes more selfish. I think he becomes less likable. And there's that chaotic side to him in the earlier seasons, too. But I also feel like there's some really good and genuine at moments with him as well. There's this episode, I think it's in the first season, where I'm gonna drop something, where this kid, he like gets in, I think that's him at least, he gets into a fight with him. Like this kid's picking on him nonstop. He gets into a fight with him and beats him, and then realizes, despite the kid being half his size, the kid was like a 6-year-old. And he is so guilty, and the episode explores his guilt and how he keeps trying to do stuff to feel good about himself, and no matter what, he doesn't. And then you get this really good scene between him and Lois, where it's just talking about conscious and saying that your conscious is going to make you feel that until it's ready to let it go. And it's such a good scene, and it's such a good interaction, and it makes Malcolm feel so much more human, but they can like still make him this really chaotic character. He is still funny. He is still doing some bad things on the show. But it makes him so much more human, and that's what I really like about old Malcolm Mill. And the newer seasons were good too. They were funny, and I like a lot about them. The fucking what's the one episode? The Block Party episode is really good. In season 7, you have the Burning Man episode. That one's like one of my favorites. But I feel like there was just this heart that was there in the older episodes that wasn't there as strongly as the show went on, which I think happens to like a lot of shows. It happens to the best of them, you know. But especially with sitcoms. But yeah, I feel like Malcolm was a really good character when he was younger, and then as the show went on, he became less good. I probably would put him in the A tier if he stayed like consistent. But it's not to say he doesn't have good. It's not to say he doesn't have his moments as the show goes on. It's weird though, because near the end of the show, he almost does not interact with the camera at all anymore. It happens occasionally, but I don't even think he does in the last episode. He doesn't do the whole break the fourth wall and look at the camera and talk thing. And that's such a weird thing because that was such a big part of the show. Why wouldn't he do that in the final episode? Again, he barely does it in the final season. He does occasionally. But I remember like I was watching season 7 at one point. I'm like, wait a second, did they stop doing it? Like I was starting to realize that like Malcolm hasn't talked to like the audience in a while. Is that just a thing that they're not doing anymore? But then he would do it occasionally and be like, okay, so I guess they're just not focusing on that anymore. But it's weird because it's a Malcolm in the Middle, and you're supposed to be seeing things from his perspective, and it's okay to have a storyline without Malcolm as the center, but still, I don't know. Seems like the show lost a little bit of focus as it went on. Again, it's not bad by the end. It's just noticeably less, like, it's not as good. I guess that's the most polite way I could go about it. But there have been much, like, stronger fall from graces in certain shows. So I guess I appreciate it for what it is. Another one of Hal's friends, fine. I like them. Otto, great character. Another one of the Dewey's classmates. None of these care. I almost feel like I should put the classmates in D. I'm gonna put them in F because it's a storyline that has a bunch of episodes that I don't care for and I never enjoy. I don't really hate these characters that much. I don't even hate Jamie that much. They just feel like nothing to me. This is an older guy that Francis lives with in season 3. He's good. They don't really focus on him a lot, and I feel like there's potential to focus on him more because there are episodes where he's very likable and a very sympathetic character. But yeah, Piyama, I like Piyama. I'm glad that they like when Francis marries Piyama. It kind of seems like something that isn't gonna last very long. I like that it makes it till the very end of the show. That's like the one thing that they could have done with Francis to make him worse. It's like, oh, and he got divorced, but no, they stick it out. I'm glad they do. They have a lot of funny moments together. I thought she was a very good addition to the show. I just like her throughout. I like her bonding with Lois. I like how she grows as a character too with them. A lot of funny moments. I'm a fan. Reese, almost S tier. Reese actually to me like gets better as the show goes on. Like, I mean, I really like the old seasons of Reese, but I feel like as the show goes on, it just they never really ran out of steam for him. They make him a little dumber, I think. Like he gets dumber and dumber as it goes on. That seems to happen a lot when it comes to Flanderization with characters. If you have a character that's like kind of a dummy, they're gonna become like fucking imbeciles by the end. You have like, Kevin from The Office becomes a lot dumber as the show goes on. Just fucking Homer Simpson in general. Talking about The Simpsons again. Reese kind of falls under that too, but I feel like they throw in other things to his character to keep him more interested and keep him going. And I think even by the final season, he's still feeling like himself. I think out of the 4 kids, he's the one who held up the best, start to finish. Francis's roommate and friend, I don't like him. I don't think he's very funny. I think he's kind of unlikable too. Spangler, great character. Funniest character that Francis has like a seasonal arc with. He has 2 seasons with Spangler. Spangler's in the first 2 seasons. Makes a guest appearance in season 3. I think the season even starts with him still being at military school. So Spangler's in like 1 or 2 season 3 episodes, but oh, he's great. Gretchen and Otto more likable. Spangler more funny. Both work a lot. Stevie, great character. Maybe some people get tired of the whole breathing thing, like he has to breathe in between every single word. I enjoy him. Kind of like Abe, he can get like I think as the show went on, he almost gets a little bit more passive aggressive. But to be fair, he's hanging out with Malcolm. And Malcolm's a very cynical person, and it kind of rubs off on Stevie a little bit, at least when he's hanging out with Malcolm. Because in the really old episodes in season 1, Stevie is like such a nice kid all the time, and then as the show goes on more and more, he's just like fed up with Malcolm's bullshit, but they're still friends. So I think it works. I don't mind it. Abe, it just kind of felt like it was coming out of nowhere near the end, but Abe still has like so much energy and is so likable that I think that despite it, I still like him as a character a lot. And there we go. That's the Malcolm in the Middle tier list. Yeah, I don't know if there's anyone significant missing from this. There might be. I mean, there's like good one-off characters that make sense to be on there, and then one-off characters here that don't make sense to be on here. Do not know why this kid is there. Do not know why the bully is there. I mean, what about Hal's dad? That was Christopher Lloyd. That was a good character. And he is a one-off, but it was Christopher Lloyd, and the character was entertaining. The character was interesting, and they explore his relationship with Hal, and it's not 100% done for laughs. I don't know. I feel like for the most part, though, this was a good list. Just I think the only one that's really missing is Francis's roommate in the first season of the show when he's at military school. And then no one else too important's missing. At least I don't think so. I do not think all of Hal's friends are there though, which again I think they almost all feel like one character. Like they're just a group that hang out. And you only learn minor things about them as individuals as the show goes on, with Abe being the only one who really stands out in that group. Kind of like Malcolm's friends, honestly. They're all nerds. They don't get a ton of focus themselves. So I will say the one with the glasses kind of does because of the relationship with his mom, but still. Um, but yeah, there's another tier list for characters on TV shows. I like doing these. I will probably run out eventually. I kind of want to do a Simpsons one, but then I also kind of think that'll take 20 years, so let's not do that. Maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I fucking will. We'll fucking see. Go to bed. Get out of here. Fuck.